Hi friends, do you think it's possible to feed your family dinner for $6, only $6 a dinner? Well friends, I'm going to share with you how I fed my family of 4 each evening for only $6 for 7 days. Hey y'all, my name is Heather and thanks for joining me here at Finance Working Mama. If you have watched the last 2 episodes that I have posted, and I will put those in the description below if you want to catch them, but I mentioned that January I was going to make sure that I worked through my pantry, cook from my pantry, and plan my meals through my pantry. And I would only allow myself a $20 budget to go to the grocery store to buy some fresh goods. So I did hit that mark for the $20 grocery haul. I went the first time and spent about $17 in some change and got some fresh fruits, some things for breakfast, and some small things for lunches. But they didn't have tomatoes, so I had to go back the next day, actually 2 days, and had to pick up some cherry tomatoes. I was in luck though, because they had those on sale. And because they were on sale, that allowed me to pick some bananas up. So that came to a total of $20 and some change. That kept me right there at my budget of $20 a week. So that was my small grocery haul for the week. And then I went into planning my meal plan for the following week. That lasted me for 7 days. And when I started this January grocery pantry cooking $20 grocery haul, I mentioned that I was going to try to keep all my dinners around $10 a meal. Well, friends, I did better than that. I actually kept it around $6 a meal. I'm going to show you my 7-day dinner meal plan, ingredients that I used, what we ate, and the total of what I would have spent if I went to the grocery store at the end or at the beginning of the 7 days. Let's start with one of our favorite meals, probably my favorite meal. Or protein, and that is chicken drums. I have lots of chicken drums stored in the fridge. I buy them in those value packs, you know what I'm talking about, and break them up and freeze them and pull them out as we need them. I usually do 5 or 6 drums in a frozen bag at a time. That's usually what we eat, and I'll have a couple left over for leftovers, which is always fantastic. But I kept it really simple, friends. I had a bottle of barbecue sauce, like marinade, that's been in my pantry forever. So I decided to pull that out, dump that in a bag, put the chicken drums in, and let that marinate overnight. The longer the better. And then when I took them out, I actually decided to put them, bread them in panko Italian crumbs because I had a container that needed to be used up as well. And I used my new air fryer contraption with my new oven that I got. See my oven? And I decided to see how that worked out. That worked out perfectly. And I had some yellow rice in my fridge, my pantry. I cooked that up. I had also some bagged broccoli, frozen broccoli that I steamed up. And that was our meal for one evening. Chicken drums, broccoli, and the yellow rice, seasoned perfectly, and that was our dinner for one evening. And I did have a few leftovers for the next dinner or lunches for the week. The next recipe is one of my daughter's favorite recipes. I always keep these ingredients on hand because it's really simple and everybody really enjoys it. All right, friends, this is the rice tomato beef recipe that my family loves. There's a half an onion, some garlic, a can of diced tomatoes, a package of the onion soup mix, 3/4 of a pound of ground meat of any kind, and 3/4 of a cup of rice. Now I'm going to put at the bottom of my skillet some olive oil or any oil you have on hand, and we want to saute these onions until they are nice and translucent or soften. Once that has occurred and it looks just about like this, that is when you want to add in your garlic. Now the original recipe does not call for garlic, but we like garlic, so I'm going to do probably a clove to 2 cloves of this garlic that I have on hand and get that nice and fragrant. It takes about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to add in my 3/4 of a pound of ground meat. Remember, this is already browned. I browned up some turkey and ground beef, mixed it, and I'm only doing 3/4 of a pound into this recipe. Once I got the meat nice and heated up, I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes and then a package of that onion soup mix to the dish. I'm going to get this well incorporated into the ground beef and the tomatoes. Make sure it's mixed well and those nice seasonings. And then I'm going to add that 3/4 of a cup of rice. Now, brown rice, jasmine rice, whatever rice you guys have on hand will be perfectly fine with this recipe. It's pretty flexible. Once you get that well incorporated into the rest of the ingredients, you want to add 1.5 cups of warm water to the pan. Make sure that the water is stirred in well with all the other ingredients. Make sure all the rice is pushed down into the water, and you want to cover it, and it takes about 20 minutes and the rice is cooked perfectly. Now you can do a couple things. You can mix in some cheese, or we just put it on our plate, serve it with some cheese, steam some broccoli, and friends, this is dinner. It is so delicious. You will have some leftovers. It does make quite a bit. Your family will love it. And these are my leftovers, friends. This is probably could feed our family 2 more servings with a side of vegetables, which I believe my oldest daughter finished because this is her favorite recipe. Hey, it is Taco Tuesday, and who doesn't love a taco recipe? So I decided to make our family favorite taco soup. Everyone enjoys it, has all the flavors we love. Best part, it is budget friendly and it can be thrown together within minutes. All right, friends, this is my taco soup that I have made for the taste for my family, and they enjoy this particular dish. 1/2 diced onion, a can of corn, a can of diced tomatoes and green chilies, a package of taco seasoning, a package of ranch dressing seasoning, and in this case, it's a package of pinto beans, but a can of pinto beans is perfect. And then I'm only going to use 1/2 pound of ground meat. It's a mixture of ground turkey, ground beef that I've already cooked. So all I have to do is reheat it. I'm putting a little olive oil at the bottom of that pan just because this ground beef turkey mixture has little to no grease in it. So I need to add a little bit of oil. And then once I get that up to a good temperature, I'm going to add 1/2 diced onion to the pan. I'm going to stir that with the ground beef until it is softened. It will continue to cook as the soup is cooking. I cook the entire soup once it's all put together between 15 to 20 minutes, so it gets all the flavors incorporated. Then you want to add the can of corn, and then a can of the tomatoes and diced chilies, and then the pinto beans, which is rinsed. Drain and rinse. I'm going to make sure it's well incorporated before adding the additional seasoning, and that is a package of the taco seasoning and a package of the ranch dressing seasoning. Now friends, I'm using what is in my pantry, so if you have corn with the peppers, that's great. Usually I just, whatever's in my pantry, I'm going to use for the soup. I just so happen to have a can of the corn with the pepper mixture in it, so you do what your family likes and what you get on sale or what you have in your pantry. Once I have that well stirred, I'm going to add a cup of water first, and then I've decided after stirring it that it needs a little bit more water because I want it to be more of a soup consistency. This is really up to your preference. So 2 cups for me. It might be a little bit more for you, or might be a little bit more or less for you and your family. I'm going to top this, let this simmer for about 20 minutes, and then when it gets to a good rolling simmer like this, friends, for 20 minutes, it is ready to serve up. It's allowed all those wonderful flavors to get well incorporated, and I'm just going to top it with some cheese and some non-fat Greek yogurt. And this is our dinner. It hits all the things, the veggies, the protein, and a Taco Tuesday. We love this dish. It's simple, it's delicious, and it's a favorite of my youngest daughter, and she has at least 2 servings for the days ahead. Chicken drums are back on the menu. if you go to the grocery store, you should always purchase the big family tray of chicken drums. I looked it up at Walmart. It looked like if you buy just 6 chicken drums, it's $4 and some change. If you buy the big family pack that gives you 12 to 14 chicken drums, it's going to be $5 and some change. That's the better deal. So of course we had chicken drums for another evening, and I just did the favorite, simple but so delicious and lots of flavor, and that is chicken and rice in the skillet. All right, friends, let me share with you how I'm going to put together this chicken and rice skillet dinner. You want to start with Italian cheese, Parmesan or any Italian cheese, 2 cups of rice, a green vegetable, I chose frozen green beans, French onion condensed soup, panko breadcrumbs, and of course some chicken drums. Now let me share with you how I'm going to make sure that these chicken drums, the skin on it gets nice and crispy. It's sort of hard since they're round. So as you can see, I turned it over and I sliced it down the middle all the way to the end, so that way the chicken meat can be flattened. I use my fingers a little bit to pull it away from the bone, so that will allow the chicken to lay flat on the pan, and that way when you're cooking the chicken skin, all of it will be nice and evenly cooked. Now if you don't have chicken drums, another great chicken to choose is some chicken thighs with the skin on the bones, and you have to do skin on the bones because that, or skin on the chicken, because that is where the flavor is. I'm choosing to use some garlic salt to season. I'm doing underneath the skin and on top of the skin because I want to make sure that that meat gets nice and flavorful. Now after I do it with the garlic salt, I'm going to do some cracked black pepper, friends. If you don't have anything other than salt and pepper, that will be perfect. This dish is completely delicious and flavorful with just salt and pepper, and you'll see why. At the bottom of that pan, I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, or any oil you have, but I'm choosing olive oil, and you want to put the chicken drums skin side down. That's important because you want to get that chicken skin nice and crispy, and this is where it takes patience because you're going to want to flip it over and it's not going to be nice and brown yet. Now how you know it's going to be nice and brown is how it will lift easily off the pan, and I'll show you in just a second. Now as they're cooking on skin side down, you want to season the rest of the chicken, the other side of the chicken, and of course I'm going to use the same garlic salt as well as some cracked black pepper. Again, friends, you choose to season whatever you like, whatever your family enjoys, you can do it. You see how nice and brown that is? You see how easy that was for me to turn? If it's not coming off that pan easily, like it's just not coming off, you just need to let it finish. See how easily that one lifted off the pan? That's telling you that that chicken skin is nice and golden and it is perfectly cooked. Now once all the skin on that chicken has been nicely crisped and brown, you want to take all of the chicken out of the pan. Set it to the side. It is not done. It needs more cooking, but you'll add it back to the pan in just a moment. Add a little bit more oil to the pan. I'm going to add the sliced onion as well as 1 to 2 garlic cloves. If you're not a garlic person, you don't need to put it in there. But we like garlic, so we're going to add it in there. Saute it until it's nice and golden brown, translucent and soften, and that's when you want to add your 2 cups of rice. You can use whatever rice you guys have. Brown rice, white rice, jasmine rice, whatever. Just make sure it's 2 cups because you're going to want a lot of rice because the rice is so good. Once you got that rice nice and brown, not burnt, but just browned, then you want to add the entire can of the French onion soup. Yeah, that's where all the flavor is. Oh, that French onion soup just makes it delicious. Since you add 2 cups of rice, you want to add 4 cups of chicken broth or chicken bouillon, whatever. If you don't have any of that, water is just fine. That French onion soup is going to give a lot of flavor to the dish anyway. Get it to a nice hard boil on the stove. Once it's a hard boil, then you want to place the chicken drums back into the pan with that skin side up. Don't let that skin get submerged in the water or the broth or the liquid because you want it to stay crispy. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees and cook it to 25 to 40 or 30 minutes until done. Now I have steamed some green beans and I have covered them mixed them with some Italian panko breadcrumbs as well as some Parmesan cheese for a little crunch and flavor, and that will be my side vegetable for this dinner. Look at that. Look at that golden brown rice and that chicken. It's so good. I'm telling you, friends, this is so affordable. This is so flavorful. This is comfort food. Your family, and so easy to put together. Your family is going to love it. If they love rice, they love chicken, they're going to love this dish. I promise you. And there's at least a leftover or so. All right, this last recipe was very delicious, and I would definitely say you have to try it, and that is a sloppy Joe casserole. Now, friends, this particular recipe calls from starting on the stove and finish it in the oven, and I just kept it simple. I just kept it on the stove, and you'll see why as I walk you through on how I made it. What I will say that in this recipe, and I will make sure all the recipes I used are in the description below, as well as the grocery haul you would need, the grocery list you would need to do your grocery shopping will be in the description below as well. But I will have to tell you, the recipe instructions were a little unclear. It said for 2 cups of cooked pasta, which isn't a lot. So I thought maybe they mean 2 cups of uncooked pasta. And to be fair to you, that wasn't very much. I had some pasta left open that was that needed to be used, and it definitely was not 8 ounces. In this grocery haul that I'm going to place, or grocery list that I'm going to place in the description below, you're going to buy a pound of pasta. You could easily use 8 ounces of pasta in this recipe. Let me share with you how I made it. All right, let's get started on this sloppy Joe casserole. In this bowl, I have 3/4 of a pound of ground beef. I have 2 cups of dried pasta, a can of tomato sauce. We need some Worcestershire, some garlic, ketchup, mustard, 2 cups of shredded cheese, a whole green pepper, and 1/2 of an onion. Let's get started on browning the meat, friends. I'm going to use 3/4 of a pound. The recipe does call for a pound. Remember, for this meal plan, I just did a pound of ground beef, a pound of turkey. I browned it, and I'm using it, the 2 pounds, over the course of 3 different meals, this being the last of the 3. And so I'm going to brown up 3/4 of a pound of the ground meat, make sure it's all nice and browned. And that is when I'm going to add the diced green peppers and diced onion to the pan. I'm going to make sure that gets well incorporated with the ground beef, a little softened before adding about 2 teaspoons of the garlic. Maybe that's 2 cloves, maybe it's a clove, who knows. I think you can add as much or as little as you want. Get that nice and fragrant about 30 seconds, and that's when you want to add in your can of tomato sauce. I did fill the can with a little bit of water and swished it around to make sure I got all of that tomato sauce out of that can. Made sure that the tomato sauce was nicely incorporated with those green peppers and onions. Then I added 2 tablespoons, let's just say I added 2 healthy tablespoons of the Worcestershire. That's how I say it. How do you guys say it? And then you're going to add a tablespoon of yellow mustard to the dish. Make sure the yellow mustard is well incorporated, and this is what I forgot to add in my ingredients at the beginning of this video, and that's 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. If you don't have the brown sugar, I don't think you need it. The ketchup, this is a 1/2 cup of ketchup. The ketchup is sweet enough. So if you don't have the brown sugar, I think you're good. I'm going to let it simmer together for about 8 minutes, covered it and simmered it, so that way all the flavors get well incorporated with all the ingredients that are in the pot. And then I've added the pasta. Remember, I had 2 cups of uncooked pasta that I have cooked, drained, and I've added into this dish. Made sure that the noodles were stirred well into the meat and vegetable tomato mixture. And I'm going to top it, let it simmer together for about 5 minutes. And then stir it, check on it. And I noticed I needed just a little bit less liquid, so I let it simmer without the top on it for another 5 minutes. I'm going to top it with 2 cups of cheese. And friends, I will tell you, the recipe calls for a cup of cheese being mixed in, and then you top it with the other cup of cheese. I prefer all the cheese on top.
And I'm gonna put all 2 cups of cheese on top. I'm gonna cover it, let it melt for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then it's ready to serve. Friends, and that was delicious. I'm telling you, it tasted just like a sloppy joe minus the bun. I like the pasta version better than the bun version. You have to try it. There's lots of sauce in it. I will tell you, I feel like it definitely needs more pasta in this dish. It probably could have taken a good 8-ounce portion of pasta. I paired it with some salad, and friends, that was our dinner. And because I paired it with some vegetables, I did have plenty of casserole left for a second dinner. Except, friends, the second time I served this to my family, I did pair it with another vegetable, but I also added some more pasta because there was a ton of sauce left. This is a lot of sauce and less pasta. It needed more pasta for sure.
All right, friends, as you could see from that skillet, we had enough for a second night of dinners. And except the second night, I did put more pasta in it. That recipe is definitely going to give you, could definitely take 8 ounces of pasta. Definitely. Because there was just so much sauce left over. Like, there was more sauce than there was noodles. So do yourself a favor. You're buying a pound of pasta. Go ahead and put 8 ounces or more, really, into that dish. So that bulked it up some more, and I did pair it with some more veggies that I had laying around. Actually, we had some more of that bag salad left over. We ate that, and that was dinner for another night. So that got me for 7 days because, of course, we had that one casserole, the sloppy joe casserole for 2 different evenings. And then we had one evening that I pulled out what was left in the fridge for leftovers. We had some of that hamburger rice meal, taco soup left over, and we had some chicken drums and rice left over. We just pulled it all out. Everyone heated up what they wanted, and we had one night for leftovers. And friends, that fed my family for 7 days. What I loved about it, it was all the things that we enjoy. One person had something that they enjoyed each night, or one night during the week. One kid loves the taco soup. Another kid loved that hamburger rice dish. My husband loves the sloppy joe. I love chicken drums. Everyone had sort of their favorite. It was hearty, it was fast, and it was delicious. So it was a meal plan, definitely, surprisingly, that I put together. That was just pennies, $6 an evening. If you go to Walmart and purchase these, all the items that I have listed in the description below, to make this meal plan for 7 days, it's only going to cost you $39.65, at least in my neck of the woods, which is in North Carolina. It might be a few dollars more, hopefully not, but that will bring you to $6 a meal, a dinner each evening for 7 days. Not too shabby. And I can tell you, it was a good mixture of proteins. It was a good mixture of veggies. Everyone enjoyed it. How did I stretch my meat as far as I did? Well, obviously that chicken drum tray is going to give you 12 to 14 drums. Most of them come in about 14. And then the turkey, a pound of turkey and the pound of ground beef, I basically cooked together, and then did only a half a pound of that cooked ground meat in the taco soup, and then 3/4 of a pound in the hamburger rice dish, and then 3/4 of a pound in the sloppy joe casserole. So that's how I sort of stretched my 2 pounds of ground meat, and still have that beefy, meaty flavor with the mixture of turkey, which is a cheaper ground beef, and a lot would say healthier for you as well. But if you're not a ground beef fan, or if your kids can't tell, if your family can't tell, you can go even cheaper and just get the turkey instead of the ground beef. Friends, you can definitely indeed put together a fantastic meal plan for your family for just pennies, and it can be healthy, filling, and delicious at that. Now, I will make sure that I put all of those recipes that I use in the description below, as well as the grocery list that you can find at least Walmart. I will tell you though, when I was looking up these prices on Walmart, I'm thinking to myself, Aldi has that cheaper. Aldi has that cheaper. Aldi has that cheaper. So if you have an Aldi in your area, you might want to check out their store first before heading to Walmart. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you have a great budget recipe, please put that in the description below. I would love to have some new ideas to try. Well then, friends, thank you so much for joining me. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Would love to see you in future videos. Make sure you stay safe, and most importantly, stay encouraged.